You are tuned in to the Bergnovinaian Sports Radio Network, nation-state's most decisive sporting news network. And good afternoon, I'm Thomas Hamilton with BSRN and affiliates. Included in today's programming, a look at the Under-18 Basketball Championships in Carasatoga. Also in today's programming, a look at the Keiser Cup, Under-21, Under-16, and Under-13 events. Later on in today's programming, we will go live to Delaclavan, where the World Tennis Team Championship is underway between third-seeded Bergnovinaian, winner of the losers bracket, and fifth-seeded Civil Citizenry, winner of the winners bracket. Thank you once again for tuning into BSRN. And now, without further ado, to sporting headlines. Our first topic of discussion is the Under-18 Basketball Championships being played live in Carasatoga. Bergnovinaian's prospects at these championships look rather good, as they currently have a 2-1 record, with their only loss being to group leader Bergnovinaian. Bergnovinaian sits in third place of the group, with Dominican, Rico, and Bergnovinaian ahead of them tied at 3-0, Angola right below them in fourth at 1-2, and Croatia and Carmadine both sitting at 0-3 records. Oddly enough, no roster has been yet to be announced for the Under-18 Basketball Championships. This seems to be a new and growing trend for Bergnovinaian sports, not announcing a roster until the team actually qualifies for the proper competition. However, some things like the World Cup always have the same roster anyways. Now, turning our attention to the Keiser Cup in Bergnovinaian. Match day 1 has been played for both the Under-16 and Under-13 divisions. Bergnovinaian had two very rough, close losses in both the Under-16s and Under-13 divisions. In Under-16s, Bergnovinaian lost to Ouija and Rikstev, losing a desperate 4-5 in 9 innings. Elsewhere in the Southport group, the group that Bergnovinaian is in, Kosamar lost to Western Cuba 5-3, and Mietanian lost to Casadegua 6-3. Bergnovinaian's Under-13 team also saw a loss by a mere 1 run. They played in the Ponaco Cine group, where they lost to Mietanian 9-8. Ouija and Rikstev lost to Casadegua in our group 9-3, while Carnwood was able to down Darman 4-3. Oddly enough, no official roster has yet to be announced for either the Under-21, Under-16, or Under-13 teams. It seems like the trend hasn't even invaded baseball. Before we move on to our live tennis tournament coverage in Delaclavan, it's time for a word from our sponsors. BSRN is sponsored by Bergbucks Incorporated, wishing you a happy morning. To get a coffee or to open a franchise in your nation, please visit their global economics page. The Bergnovinaian Sports Radio Network is also sponsored by Carasatoga Air, going places. To book a flight or to charter your own flight, visit their global economics page. The Bergnovinaian Sports Radio Network is also sponsored by listeners like you. Thank you. And now to Delaclavan, where Pete Rosell is on standby to bring you the greatest and latest coverage of the World Tennis Team Championships final. Hello, Pete. Good afternoon, Thomas. Tell me, Pete, what have things been like at the World Tennis Team Championship final? I know the morning play is over, but I didn't quite get the scores. Well, Thomas, it was a rather bizarre morning, but Bergnovinaian has the decisive 2-1 edge since they won the first singles match and the doubles. Our first match, Joshua Fuller simply thrashed Ned Haim, winning the first and third sets, dropping only 2 games, 6-1 and 6-1. However, Haim was able to rally somewhat in the second set, forcing Fuller to win the second set 7-5. So that match score was 6-1, 7-5, 6-1 in Fuller's favor. The second singles set was rather bizarre, as Peter Foulet was thrashed in a similar fashion to Penelmet Ritarlug. Foulet was able to force a tiebreak in the first set, losing that tiebreak 7-5. Foulet then lost the second and third sets 6-2, 6-1, so Ritarlug won the match 7-6, 7-5 in the tiebreak, 6-2, and 6-1. Oddly enough, the doubles match wasn't very close either, except for the set scores, that is. Crush and Charles teamed up to down Amut and Banaped of Civil Citizenry in 3 sets, winning the first set in a tiebreak at 7-6, winning the second set 6-3, and winning the third set 7-5. So tell me, Pete, what gave Fuller, Crush, and Charles that decisive edge over their opponent, while Foulet fell right behind? Should the team keep it together if they wish to win the World Tennis Team Championships when they go through afternoon play? That is an excellent question. Well, in Fuller's match especially, one thing that gave him a very decisive edge, especially in the first and third sets, was his massive forehand. I've never seen forehands like it. If Haim was to hit it to Fuller's forehand, he could run him all over the court. The reason why set 2 was so much closer was because Haim figured out that hitting at the Fuller's forehand was not working out very well. Therefore, he tried to hit to the backhand, but since Fuller was able to hang on, he relapsed again in the third set. I'm not quite sure what gave Crush and Charles the edge over Amut and Banaped, except for that they played well as a team and that their volleys were proficient. They would get into the net and close the point away within 5 or 6 shots. One more quick question, Pete, as we are running out of time. With Bergnovinaian's 2-1 lead at the moment over Civil Citizenry, should we expect to see Bergnovinaian win the World Tennis Team Championships after play tonight? Another interesting question that I'm sure everybody is wondering about. As an avid Bergnovinaian tennis fan, I would have to say, yes they can. The real question, is it going to be 4-1 or 3-2? Bergnovinia only has to hold on to one match, after all, to retain the win. It wouldn't surprise me, though, if Civil Citizenry was somehow able to come back from behind with a comeback strategy and take the win at 3-2. It would be very depressing, and as an avid Bergnovian tennis fan, I desperately hope that does not happen. Thank you once again, Pete, for joining us live from Delaclava. I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Thank you, Thomas, and same here. Thank you for tuning in to the Bergnovian Sports Radio Network, nation-state's most decisive sporting news network. To get up-to-date coverage on live sporting events from across the world, please visit us at our webpage, bsrn.webs.com, or you can also follow us at our Tumblr page. For everyone at BSRN, I'm Thomas Hamilton, wishing you all a good night.